Celebrating 30 years of phenomenal trend forecasting, 5 times a week, Monday through Friday. Here's Gerald Celente with today's trends in the news.
Hi, this is Gerald Celente. It's Wednesday, November 21st, 2018. And here are some of today's trends in the news. On the market front over there in Asia, Nikkei's down just a little bit. In Shanghai and Hang Seng laying flat. Over there in Europe, everything's up a little bit after a couple of bad days in the USA. Over here, the Dow is up over 200 points, closed flat. NASDAQ, up a little bit. Oil, up. Gold, up. Not a lot. And Bitcoin up a tiny bit of a bit. Dow erases 200-point gain as Apple fails. Rotten apples, huh? U.S. stocks sold off for a second consecutive session on Tuesday as energy shares dropped with oil prices, while retailers, including Target and Kohl, tumbled after weaker than expected earnings. Weaker than expected earnings. Because people have weaker than expected incomes, and that costs are going up more than wages. But those are only facts, folks. So here we are. The S&P 500 is now in correction territory, down 10% from its high that it hit on September 21st, which was 2 days after we made the forecast of an economic 9/11. 40% of the S&P 500 stocks are in bear territory, down over 20%. Today's market reaction, even though it's a slow day, it's the day before Thanksgiving, it means something. It should have had more push to it. Gold went up a little bit today. They say, you know why? Can't make this stuff up. Gold prices rose on Wednesday in subdued trade ahead of the U.S. holiday amid a weakness in the dollar. Whoa, that dollar really must have went down. Big shot, man. How much did it go down? 0.01%. Investors are now keeping a close eye on the G20 Leaders Summit later this month in Argentina, blah, 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 blah. Has nothing to do with it. Gold is not going to move on that news. As goes the markets, so goes gold. These markets go down, gold is going to go up. That's what we forecast. Crude rebounds after plunging in previous session. The reason they're saying is that U.S. government data showed strong demand for refined fuel. But when you look at it, Brent crude has fallen 25% since it hit a high in early October. For it to go down this much in such a short amount of time, they got a lot of volatility here. Again, look at the equity markets. 10% correction in a little over a month. Oil going into bear market territory after hitting a high since 2014. So, volatility is the name of the game. The Saudis say that they're going to cut back on production, but they changed their mind. You know why? Because Saudi Arabia might find taking action to support prices harder. Analysts said with U.S. pressure to keep them low, U.S. President Donald Trump on Wednesday, today, praised Saudi Arabia for helping to lower prices. And you know what else President Trump said? Trump stands with Saudis over murder of Khashoggi. stands with Saudis. Oh, everybody's all upset about that. How could he dare stand with them? And nobody's allowed to hear what really happened because we're the little plebs and proles. We're not allowed to hear the CIA information. We just pay for it and bend down and take it. Not a word about the massacre in Yemen going on. How about that with the Saudis? No, we're not going to write about that because we're the New York slime, the toilet paper record. Not a peep about this massacre going on, which real numbers are showing now in the 60 to 70,000 range dead by violence. And when you add the hundreds of thousands of others in because of the worst humanitarian crisis on earth, the cholera epidemic, and famine, what's a few 100,000 when they killed one Khashoggi, I tells you? Hypocrisy and stupidity and immorality. Occupy peace. Well, stay with the sickness going on. It's your choice, not mine. I put my money where my heart is, and my soul, and my mouth. So, rather than talking about, again, what's going on in Yemen, do you know what the Cartoon News Network, with their Lemons and their Anderson Coopers and their arrogant Quis Cuomos, lead story is? Not a word about the massacres going on. Nope. Isolated tribespeople believed to have killed U.S. missionary who trespassed on remote island. You want to know why people are so damn stupid and have no information to make decisions about the current events forming future trends? Again, that's why you subscribe to the Trends Journal. History before it happens. And please tell other people. Spread the word. The more we get, the more we can do. The more that listen, the better opportunities for positive change. Remember, occupy peace. Liberty, love, joy, and beauty. Join the evolution. So now we're seeing the markets going down, right? I just mentioned they're in correction territory. I'll go back to before the elections. Financial Times. U.S. midterms set to deliver history's usual stock boost. Whatever the outcome, history shows around the midterm, stock markets tend to do well. Over the past 21 midterm elections, only twice have equity markets posted declines or flattened in the month before and 12 months after. Instead, stocks tend to gain roughly 25% during that period. But I guess this is one of the one or two times that that's not happening because global equity markets tumble as tech sell-off wipes $1 trillion from FANG stocks. Facebook, Alphabet, Amazon, Google. I'm going to read this to you. This is today's Financial Times. The savage U.S. tech sell-off broadened into global equity markets retreat yesterday, sparked by growing investor fears over trade, economic growth, and corporate earnings in the United States, Asia, and Europe. Fears over trade, economic growth, corporate earnings in the U.S., Asia, and Europe, and not one, not a peep, let's keep it quiet, about interest rates. Not a peep about the strong dollar, the declining currencies, and the massive, massive debt. Brace for corporate defaults as Chinese firms with dollar debts are increasing pressure. They say that rising costs of borrowing and weakening Chinese yuan could see more firms fail to meet upcoming payments as an increasing number of bonds mature in the next few years. Rising interest rates. We're not going to say a word about it because we'll be stupid like everybody else. Mortgage refinance applications hit 18-year lows. While rates still at the highest level in 8 years, mortgage applications to refinance a home loan continue their downward spiral, falling 5% for the week to the lowest level since December 2000. December 2000. Dot-com bust. When? March of 2000. That's what we're looking at, just to put it into perspective. And again, go to your back trends journals, October 1999, dot-com bust. We predicted it by the second quarter of 2000. It's a fact. Retail stocks just broke a historic losing streak. 8 straight days of losses, the group's longest losing streak on record. But don't worry. Nope. According to Matt Malley of Miller Tabit, wage growth is picking up and gasoline prices are going down. That's a good recipe for consumer stocks, especially since they've gone down so much recently. Wage growth, grow up. None. Let's look at the facts. U.S. durable good orders fall 4.4% in October. Yep. The third decline in the past 4 months. The slowdown has raised the specter that a widening trade war between the United States and China is causing U.S. companies to grow more cautious. What a bunch of stupid...
Oh, come on now. That ain't even bullshit. That's horse shit.
It's horse shit. Oh, I got to be proper. It's bullshit. Don't want to say anything bad about horses. I don't want the horse people to get after me. It may be politically incorrect pretty soon to say horse shit rather than bullshit. Well, what about people that own bulls? How do they feel about it? J.P. Morgan economists expect economic growth to slow down in 2019. Story today. A $9 trillion corporate debt bomb bubble in the U.S. economy. Total corporate debt has swelled from nearly $4.9 trillion in 2007 to over $9 trillion halfway through 2018. And when you read about why the J.P. Morgan folks are worried about a slowdown, you ready for this? It's going to come as a shock. So sit down, take it easy, and take a deep breath. Om. The Fed could raise rates fewer times if there's a risk from the global economy or if the dollar strengthens significantly. No kidding. Read your trend alert from yesterday. Crypto's crashing. How far? How deep? And of course, it was more than just about cryptos. It was about interest rates and what they're going to do if things get really bad. More monetary methadone by the central banksters. That's our forecast. On to some international news. Yesterday, Netanyahu keeps hold on power. A government crisis in Israel has injected fresh uncertainty into a U.S. peace plan. What a bunch of...
Warning, bullshit alert.
What peace plan? A piece of garbage. No, there's no peace plan. But again, he holds on to power. Things are very tenuous over there. Remember, when all else fails, they take you to war. And that's what madmen like to do. Israel fumes. Whoa, fumes. Shoo. As Airbnb pulls rental listings in West Bank. What the listing does not make clear is that B&B, named Peace of the Valley, lies in the Jewish settlement in the Israeli-occupied territory. Most of the world considers the settlements built on the land Israel captured in 1967 to be a violation of international law. Most of the world, all of the world, except the United States and Israel. But remember, God gave them that land. It's in the good book. Chapter 7, page 19, paragraph 3, section 8. Yeah. I mean, you know that Moses, Abraham, this cat, that cat, they all said it. It's right there. Woof, the Word of God. What is it, about 3,700 years ago? Must be true, because that's when the world began. Cave contains world's oldest figurative art, dating back over 40,000 years. Huh. Nah, that's fake art. It all began 3,700 years ago when God gave Israel that land. Nobody was there before, nobody counts, and no one was there after. And they keep getting away with it. Remember, occupy peace. Let's stop this madness and the madmen and madwomen that are leading us into disaster. Tomorrow is Thanksgiving. We won't be here. And I won't be here. Checking out for a while. Be gone for 2 weeks. Be back on Trends in the News on December 10th. So in the meantime, have a happy Thanksgiving and pace amore, peace and love. This is Gerald Celente, and that's some of today's Trends in the News.